Welcome to Horses A to Z. My name is Nicole Lorig, and today I'm here with your hosts, Dr. Kimberly Cole and Dwayne Stutzman, to share a new weekly podcast about everything horses. So Dwayne, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. So my role here at Ohio State officially is the Equine Extension Associate. What that means is I help plan and develop and promote all of our state 4-H horse events that we have throughout the year alongside Dr. Cole, and help work with our 4-H youth as well as their advisors and industry professionals too. And then the other part of my job is working in the Department of Animal Science, teaching a variety of courses, mainly the equine selection evaluation class, and help lead the collegiate horse judging team. So always excited about that.
And what about your industry experience?
Sure. So I was very actively involved in 4-H and FFA as a youth. I grew up riding and driving a variety of breeds, saddle horses, draft horses, Haflingers, minis, and ponies, specifically Shetland ponies right now is what I'm doing. Driving is sort of my forte. I also judge about 35 to 40 horse shows a year and manage about a dozen horse shows all throughout the country, which I really enjoy doing in my spare time. And I've been here at Ohio State for 6 years, originally here for my undergrad, and then I went and worked in the industry for about 5 years, and back now for my second year full-time working in academia. So yeah, very excited to be here.
Awesome, very cool. And what about you, Dr. Cole?
Well, Nicole, I've been the Extension Equine Specialist here at Ohio State for the past 13 years, working with horse owners, 4-H Horse Club advisors, and members. I also oversee the equine program here at Ohio State and teach several equine classes in the Department of Animal Sciences. Like a lot of kids, I started out riding Western, but gradually transitioned to English disciplines during college and spent some time fox hunting and competing in horse trials. I've been really fortunate to be involved in many different aspects of the horse industry, including working as a wrangler at a horse camp, teaching riding lessons, and operating boarding and breeding facilities. These days I seem to spend more time mucking stalls than riding, but I enjoy spending time out on the trails with family and friends when I get the chance.
Well, what prompted the idea of this podcast?
We often get lots of specific questions that we don't get to share with everyone, and we have found that if one person has a question, usually more people have the same or a similar question. We wanted a platform to be able to reach more people and share our enthusiasm for horses and kids. Our good friends Big D and Cece suggested this podcast.
So each week we'll be visiting with a different horse industry professional and talk about current events or hot topics, as well as answer some frequently asked questions about horses and the Ohio 4-H horse program. Some common segments featured will include From the Judge's Eye, In the Tack Room, and just for fun, we'll have a segment called The Muck Bucket. We'll close each week with a short Q&A session, replying to our listeners' questions and concerns. Stay tuned for more information on how to submit your questions at the end of today's podcast. To kick off this exciting new platform, the topic this week will be DQ or not to DQ.
Thank you, Nicole. So Dwayne, a few weeks ago we had a question from a judge asking about a contesting class in which a kid fell off after they completed their pattern and the timer had stopped. Is that a no time or a DQ?
Well, that is a great question, Kim. If you look in the current uniform rules for 4-H horse shows, there actually is no penalty associated with that scenario.
Even if they fell off?
Believe it or not, yes. So for gymkhana classes, the riders have to come into the arena, start the pattern, and once they come back and cross the finish line, the time ends. So a rider then has the option to ride or lead the horse from the arena. And nowhere in the rule book does it say how they have to dismount the horse in order to lead the horse from the arena. So now that's not to be confused with a horse that's unruly or disobedient, is uncontrolled, and ends up hitting the fence. Then that would result in a DQ.
That's good to know. Hopefully that will help clarify any confusion that our judges and exhibitors might have had.
Mm-hmm.
Please join us next week where we'll talk with a farrier about the land of lost shoes. In addition to tips and information, we try to include some comedy and laughs to remember and share as well. Do you have a funny, family-friendly story you'd like to share, or any tips that you would like to have discussed? Or maybe a question about the 4-H horse program that you'd like to have answered? If so, please send us an email at horsesatozpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll try to include them in a future post.
So thanks for joining us this week, and we hope to hear from you and on any of your questions that you have about rules. You can check them out in the Uniform Rules for 4-H Horse Shows book, which can be purchased online through OSU Extension or at your county extension office.
See you next week.